sweet. While that's in the pan, we're going to cook our pasta. Got a pound of penne. Season everything you make. Make sure you're seasoning well because the average person, the other ingredients all get cooked with the pasta. Put the shrimp inside. They cook almost instantly. We're going to stir that around, let the water come back to a boil. Now we're going to put the asparagus, the zucchini, and the tomatoes. Garlic flavor, and you get a nice, sweet, nutty flavor. Does it smell good? I'm going to add a little chicken stock. And also add a little crushed red pepper. Put a lot of salt in the water. I'm going to put it. Looks good. Tastes good. Here. You know, the ultimate shortcut is to just buy a bag of Bertolli pasta, heat that up and serve it. And you win a chance to co-host an online cooking show with me. That's a pretty cool thing. This came out really good, actually. My mom would like that.
Hello, Rocco?
Are you Paul?
I am Paul.
How's it going, my brother?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm turning zucchini. I'm pretty happy. They're looking good.
Rocco, what website should we use to let our audience know about here?
You want to check me out on whatsyourmedstyle.com. Whatsyourmedstyle.com, as in Mediterranean.
Whatsyourmedstyle.com.
Yeah, and I've got blogs, tips, 6 webisodes, which are little mini cooking shows that are beautiful. They can also enter to win a chance to cook do an online cooking show with me, which is pretty cool. We're going to pick a winner in about 3-4 months and actually produce a cooking show with them.
Great.
Yeah.
Super. And you also have your own website, too, Rocco.
RoccoDiSpirito.com. Sure, yeah. Lots of recipes and tips and information there.
Okay, I'm looking at that right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you have a lot of good things. Hopefully they're recording all this, and we're going to put this all on. So, Rocco, you know, you started at a very young age. I imagine into the culinary world. You went to a culinary institute at 16. Is that right? Did I read this?
Yeah, I was anxious to get out of high school, so I got out of there, and at that point I already fallen in love with cooking. I started at age 11 actually working in restaurants, and by 14, 15 I was done. I was cooked, so to speak. So my goal then was to get the best education I could in the culinary world, so I went to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, and after that I went to France and just kept going and never looked back. And I've been real happy with that decision.
Was this something that evolved out of a grandma or a mom or any family situation in your own home?
You know, I didn't realize it at the time, but when I look back, it's pretty obvious that if it weren't for my mother and grandmother and aunts and uncles who had this rich tradition of preparing great food, and not just preparing great food, but growing and raising their own livestock and making their own wine and baking their own bread, I probably wouldn't have went the direction I did.
Did you live in an area that they were able to do that, I guess?
I did, yeah. We lived in an area where they had enough land to do all that. I mean, my grandmother had a black and white fig tree, peach, apricot trees, pears, apples. She probably grew 40 kinds of produce. Cherry trees, blackberries, a rabbit hutch. It was amazing. She basically recreated her Italian lifestyle here in America.
So did you grow up in California? Or
no, this is New York. She had a home in Long Island, so she had a couple of acres, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a heck of a lot growing. A lot of vegetation out that way. North Shore, South Shore.
Vegetation, that's exactly what.
Huh?
A lot of farms out there, yep.
Yeah, it's a great place. Well, we go out there a lot and we do a lot of good things. But I hear you have some National Restaurant Association found that average Americans still consume 76% of their meals at home.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? With the restaurant craze that's out there, it's a pretty hard to believe statistic. But you know, it's National Restaurant Association is a very credible source, and I believe it because most Americans realize that home is where the good life is. Sure, going out to restaurants is great, but it's not practical. It's expensive, and when you eat out at restaurants every night, you're not in control of what you're feeding your friends and family. And no one's ever quite as comfortable in a restaurant as they are at home. I love cooking for friends and family at home. I cook more now than I have in years. And I even realize that there's an issue with cooking at home. I mean, it's not easy to find the time and the resources and the money to go out there and prepare from scratch all the time. As a professional chef, I find it difficult. So how do you reconcile that with the fact that everyone wants to cook at home and everyone wants to be part of this food and wine culture? And I think what you see happening is this whole development of shortcut foods and alternatives to ordering out or going out to eat. And in my next book, I explore all of those shortcut foods. It's called Rocco's Real Life Recipes. It's coming out in November. And what I do is I combine fresh foods with shortcut foods to create a recipe that cooks in 10 or 15 minutes with 10 or less ingredients, so that you get to eat fresh food that you've cooked, you get to feel like you've cooked for your family, but the time investment is very, very little. Now, some of the shortcut foods that I love are canned chicken stock, Harvard beets in a jar, some of the best vegetables that you can buy prepared, all those wonderful salad mixes that you can now find in the produce section. Canned beans, great way to start a dinner is canned beans, throw some meat in it, some lime juice and cilantro and salmon, for example, and black beans, and you've got an instant dinner in about 10-12 minutes. In the frozen section, my friends at Bertolli are just launching this new product. It's their Mediterranean-style frozen dinners, and this represents years of research and development. They've really stepped it up. It hasn't always been the case that frozen food was good food. It is now the case that a very good alternative to eating out or restaurants is available. And these are dinners that are cooked in 10 minutes. They're made the way any Italian cook would make them from scratch.
I have a pair of Bertolli socks on.
Do you really? I didn't get the socks. Hey, where are my socks?
You needed to do the last time that we spoke to the people at Bertolli, and there was another good kind of. I love Italian food, and I love food, and I love to cook, and I love your book. I got have your book, so I did another Bertolli, and they gave it as part of whatever they were speaking about.
Fantastic, that's
great.
Great
pastas. I mean, and other
and olive oil and all their other sauces.
Oil,
yeah,
the whole thing. And I used to work for the Italian TV RAI, so. I'm very plugged into this kind of thing here.
Oh, very cool.
I have your book, also another book, though, Flavor, in front of me.
Yeah, Flavor was my first book, and I'm kind of known for how I combine my flavors. If something doesn't taste good, it's not good on any level. I mean, it could look great. You could have cooked it on the rarest, copper cookware and used the finest ingredients, but if it doesn't taste good in the end, it doesn't matter. So when I tell people how to cook, when I teach them about cooking, I always say that your palate is the most important cooking tool. Just make sure it tastes good to you, and it'll taste good to other people. And I do that in a way, in an effort to empower people and get the anxiety out of their head, because entertaining at home is the 5th most feared activity in America, and that's like behind death and speaking in public, not too far behind death. So when you think about that, and the fact that 76% of people want to cook at home, someone needs to bridge that gap.
If we talk about, and I've been out there, and actually I made a TV show over there in Tuscany 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
It was a torture. But someone has to do those kind of things, and it was a good news show. We went around, and we had fresh herbs, and really beautiful kind of experience, and no doubt about it. So if you would think, if we say the word Tuscany, what do you think is regard to, everybody if they want to make their feeling of their kitchen into a Tuscany feeling?
Well, what's great about Italy, Tuscany, southern Italy, wherever you're talking about, is that it sits on the Mediterranean, and Mediterranean cooking is incredibly light and flavorful by definition. It's too hot for cows. There's no butter, no cream. It's all about olive oil, which is really good for you. And because of the wonderful sun, all the fruits and vegetables and herbs taste amazing. I'm sure if you were in Tuscany, you know what I'm talking about. Vegetables don't taste quite the same as they do in Italy.
Well, I think that some of the people say it's in the soil, and we actually took herbs from the soil because that was part of the concept for the show. It was a food show, and so earthquake-ish soil, rich in nutrients, and it definitely had a flavor. The lamb and the cheese from the animals and the lamb. It's all just good. So tell us about.
And what's great about it is that it's light. You can't make Mediterranean food heavy. For some reason, that olive oil always makes it light. And I love my go-to cuisine is Mediterranean cooking because it's easy. I learned it from my family, and it makes everyone happy. Hey, if you go to whatsyourmedstyle.com, you can learn more about Mediterranean cooking and watch me cook in my little mini cooking shows and enter to win a chance to co-host an online cooking show with me. So make sure you go there.
You're doing a lot of great things. Rocco,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and good luck with the triathlons as well.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.